All right. Okay. No AI companion. Hello, everybody. It is Pain to Punchlines. We are here bringing you some wellness and comedy for your stress relief. I am Paula Jane Newman, the founder of Aware Meditation Inc. and Rise Up Comedy, and somebody who has a channel called Paula Jane Newman. I don't know if anyone knows what that's about, including myself. In the next 30 minutes or so, we've got some fabulous all-female lineup comedians. We're going to share their experience, bring you some laughter, and hope you'll have a little bit of healing. If you can, please just hit that subscribe button or like, or even better, write a positive comment, because what is it going to do to hurt you to write something nice in the comments online for once? We are coming to you after the holiday season. Woo! Let me tell you, I think I'm in better stead than last year, because last holiday season I gained 20 pounds. I got on a scale. It was so disappointing because it was the day before Thanksgiving. And then I was feeling really self-conscious about my body, and my mate said, "You know what? Curvy is in. I promise you. Put a hashtag curvy girl, put it on your story. You're going to notice some things changing." And I took a risk and I did it. And I was so nervous. It just had a picture of me and my wobbles, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, some people go in at the stomach. I have an extra wobble at the stomach at that point. And I was so embarrassed. I just put a smiley face emoji over my face and just put hashtag curvy girl. I'm not lying. I got all of these blokes slide into my DMs like, "Hey, babe." And I was like, "What?" And I thought, I'm going to have to check out exactly who these pervs are. And I checked out their profiles, and I was really quite shocked because some of them were like fit daddies. They were like their ribs were all showing, their muscles. Like, I didn't even need to see their faces. I don't know why they need to do blue steel. Like, I just need to look at your abs. And I was like, well, and I felt a bit better. So lesson learned. And January 1st came around and they all slid back in my DMs again. I was like, okay, telling me that if I wanted, I subscribed to their wellness fitness program of how to lose 20 pounds in 1 month. So never trust the dude that slides into your DM when you're feeling very much of low self-esteem. But the good news is I actually weighed myself, and I'm the same weight as I was in September. So I didn't gain the 20 pounds this year. I just didn't lose the 20 pounds from last year. So maybe my body is just happy being cuddly. We call it a new thing. Financially, it's always a little tricky after the holiday season, paying things off. And my niece this year cracked me up because I'm obsessed with being best auntie. And I went head to head with the other aunts. No brainer. And then I went against the Funkles. And this year I was like, I'm going to go toe to toe with Santa. And what I realized Santa won't bring a little girl is their own agency and power. Because how much power do you get from an older white fat man giving you a present? Like, I don't know about that. So I said, this was the evening of Thanksgiving. Give me a list of all the presents you want for some cheaper store, and let's see what you get. Oh my gosh. From 10 p.m. on Thanksgiving to 6 a.m. on Black Friday, this 9-year-old sent me 27 messages. I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm empowering you a little too much. And the items include, but were not limited to, there was, of course, Disney stuff, a fart gun, and I kid you not, an Elon Musk Cybertruck.
Wow.
I was like, sweetie, I can't afford the fart gun and the Cybertruck. And why do you want a Cybertruck anyway? She was like, they're awesome. They like bulletproof. And I'm like, oh, they're not. But what does a 9-year-old need a bulletproof vehicle for? Like, what are you doing? Are you dropping some tracks that you need to be hidden? Did you suss out the Minecraft ultimate algorithm? Like, why do you need a Cybertruck in the first place? So then I was like, you know what? Why don't we just go back to good old Disney? I'm just going to sell out. And she still has Anna and Elsa stuff. And I was like, really? Frozen still not wicked? She was like, no. What do you like then, Auntie Paula? I was like, well, I'm just good old fashioned poo. She's like, ew. And I was like, no, Winnie the Pooh. And I started thinking about these characters as I was talking to her. And I realized like the Winnie the Pooh characters actually are archetypes that represent dysfunctional children. Like Winnie the Pooh is hardcore sugar addict. Eeyore is depressed teen. And Tigger, well, that's what happens when you don't give the kids Adderall. All right, that's enough from me and the beginning of my year. I'm now going to head over to our next comedian who actually wrote for a game called Cards Against Humanity. So this is the person that you need to blame in the comments for about those questions that are just a little too personal when you play it with your parents. Please welcome to the screen, Carly Ballerina.
Thank you. I will say, as a disclaimer, I did the each card is like a no single person writes all the cards. They get touched by everybody, and I only had my hand really in like the pride pack, which was actually a terrible. I so I was like, oh, it would be so fun to have like glitter, like gay glitter. That's fun, and everybody's like, that's fun, and then we put glitter in it, and then we got flagged by like every environmental thing that was just like, you can't, this is awful. Then we had to like get biodegradable glitter. It was like a nightmare. So, I contributed in that way. Okay, let's see. Oh, so I guess like, hello. I feel like I can start here since this is like the heart centered. I think that everybody right now is doing, a lot of therapy. And I love that everybody is doing the first part of therapy. But I think maybe we are all doing it maybe like too much. Because now we're like TikTokifying it in this crazy way where it's like we're using therapy terms wrong. And like I'm not a clinician or anything, but my mom met my dad in a mental institution. Neither are doctors. And then my mom went to clown college, and that is how supervillains are made. So I have been in therapy for quite a long time. So I know all about it. Like the DSM-4 was like my Harry Potter when I was growing up because I was just like, what is this lady doing? So I know quite a bit. And everybody right now is like calling each other like a gaslighting narcissist. And I do feel like we're using the term gaslighting like incorrectly as far as I can. Because my friend came up to me and she was like, Carly, you'll never believe it. Like, Craig is gaslighting me. And to me, because of the way that I grew up, gaslighting is a big deal. It like happens over a period of time. The gaslightee doesn't know who they are in like time and space. And also, the gaslighter has to like be smarter than the gaslightee. So I was like, Craig? But I was like, all right, yeah, what happened? Like, tell me everything. And she was like, okay. So I think that he is sleeping with Tina. And I asked him about it, and he said that he wasn't. So, and I was like, oh, probably that's like bad lying, right? Because like gaslighting would be like if she went up to Craig and she was like, you're sleeping with Tina, and then over the course of like weeks or months, he made her feel like she wasn't Italian. Like that is more what I think of with gaslighting. I mean, there are levels. You don't have to talk to me after the show, but so I just kind of feel like we're like really overdoing it. Also, I I feel like sometimes people when I say that my mom was a clown are like, "Oh, how fun." Because like right now, I don't know if anybody knows about this, but they're like hot clowns. They're mostly on the coasts. They're like kind of they're coming in sort of like to the Midwest, but there's like a contingent of hot clowns that are happening in the United States, and that is not what I'm talking about. My mom went to clown college for cash. Like she kind of went to clown college the way that like a construction worker just like gets a job. Like she was just like, I gotta do this clown gig, not happy about it. And the way that I found out was okay, so how it would work in our house was sometimes she would be there and then sometimes she would be gone. And so if she was gone and then she came back and she felt happy, we didn't ask any questions. And so I didn't know she was in clown college. So the way that I found out was I came home from school and there was just like a full clown in my kitchen, but it was the back of her because she was doing the dishes in her whole outfit. So like I walked in and I was like, hello? And then she just like turned around and was like, I graduated. And I was like, from where? And then she said college, and I was like, I'm never going there. That is so crazy. Like, so college is where they give you big shoes? Like, that's awful. So for a while, I was just like, no college. Um, and then one day, I was like climbing trees or something. I had been like neglected for a couple of days, so like I was all gross. There was like dirt everywhere, and I caught my mom in the parking lot as she was like going to a gig, and she looked at me and she was like, oh my god, you look homeless. And I was like, well, yeah, you're doing a bad job, like you have to give me a bath, that's like your fault. And she's like, no, 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 it's perfect. I'm gonna call you Huckleberry and you're gonna be my assistant. So so I was Huckleberry, her assistant. My outfit was literally just dirty overalls, and like then she smeared like more dirt on my face. And then we went to, so it was my job, okay, to go up to like children my own age and be like, hello, peer. Would you like to go get some popped balloon animals from that drunk clown? No, I understand. And that's how I learned about social anxiety. Which so then, yeah. Also, I kind of feel like another thing that is TikTokified right now is like people right now, everybody's a witch. And if you guys are witches, this is not about you, it's about other witches. But like a lot of my friends are like, hey Carly, did you hear like I'm a witch now? Like I have a crystal in my pocket or whatever. Um, and I'm kind of like, you're not a witch. Like, okay, my mom was also a witch. Terrible, she was like always trying to get cash, like these like clown witch. I don't know if you know that. None of them bring in a ton of cash. But she was like a real witch. Like she is like a mean lady who was born on a mountain in Italy, and she has weird hair. You know what I mean? Like that's like real witch stuff. So when my friends are like, I'm a witch, I'm always like, okay. So like one time, my mom came home and she was like she had like this thing of muffins, and she was like, Carly, here's a muffin, I want you to take this muffin to Tom. And Tom was this man that she was trying to date at the time. So I was like, okay. So I went to like take the muffin, and she was like, Carly, before you go, make sure you watch him eat it. And I was like, oh, why? And then she said, because Carly, my menses is in it and he has to eat it to complete the spell. So like when my friends are like, I'm a witch, I'm like, oh, have you ever sent your firstborn to your crush's house with a period muffin? Because if not, I don't believe you. It takes a lot to be a witch. You have to like be willing to ruin like one or two families, maybe three. And you have to do stuff with your menses. So it's a crazy thing. You also have to like be taught by a mean lady who was born on a mountain in Italy or Africa. You like pick a place, but it can't be like you can't have learned it on ChatGPT in an apartment in Iowa City. So that is my thought on that. I guess I can end with is has it been like 7 minutes? I
Yeah,
wasn't
it
counting those
has.
out.
Give me the
Okay,
like.
great.
Thanks so much, Carly. Oh my gosh. I think you ought to start another deck of Cards Against Humanity witches style.
Yeah, that's a good
Right?
idea.
Like or a whole set of jokes. They used to be yo mama jokes, but now it's
Hmm.
like your mama is a witch. Right? Like just like people will say, "Oh, I'm a clown witch." Like this is like now I'm
Yeah.
very disturbed about the red nose and where the color really came from. And how do you do dishes with those big shoes? Like, do you have to lean in to do the
It
dish?
was it was crazy. It was like the most insane because she never did the dishes. So it was like crazy that she like had picked that time. Like we always were in a disgusting house. So I don't know. And then she also had like the rubber gloves on. So it was like insane. Whatever. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, there really is only two careers that you could have had from that. One is to be a therapist from
Right.
so much therapy, or to be a stand-up comedian. I
Yeah.
don't
My
understand.
therapist really wants me to go back to school to get a therapy license, and I'm like, no, I don't like doing this. This isn't like a fun for me to have like revelations and insights. That's not like super dope.
No,
Um,
well, or maybe that's just their way of trying to get rid of you. Like you.
Totally. She's like, we've done this for 15 years. You gotta go. My therapist has been my most stable relationship, which is crazy.
The therapist is the most stable relationship. Yeah, we know we're doing great then. We're doing well as a society. Everyone, thank you, Carly, for sharing some of your pain into punchlines here. We're going to move to our next fabulous female comedian, who is the producer of one of the most cool sounding show, dive bar comedies, only doing comedy in dive bars, which basically sets the bar for where comedy really thrives in the world. I have been on these shows, they're fantastic. Please welcome Joanna Petrie.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and thinking about the pain to punchlines topic today, it got me thinking about when I first started doing stand up, which was actually like 2012, but around 2016, I was hanging out at the Comedy Store a lot. And, they had the roast battle, which I believe they still do have. And I was only once did I participate in the roast battle. And I will admit I lost. But the reason that I never did it again was not because I lost. It was because it hurt my feelings. I'll tell you. Uh, the lady that I went up against, she said, uh, Johanna looks like a cute girl until you look in her eyes and you see that she's haunted, which which is bad enough. But the thing that hurt my feelings is the whole audience broke into laughter. Like they all saw it. Like they thought that was so funny. And anyway, but since we're talking about trauma, I'm like, well, maybe, I probably have been traumatized even before. And then since then, I've been even more traumatized. I've gone through a lot. I ended up marrying a comedian. I got to listen to all his jokes at home as well as out, but we had fun. That's when we started Dive Bar Comedy because we were not getting on the good shows at the Comedy Store, and we thought, you know what, let's just do our own thing. And we started booking comics from all the open mics and all the funny people that we would meet and put them in dive bars, and that's been going ever since then. But yeah, some people say they have resting bitch face, right? And I'd say I have resting. I've stared death in the face because my husband unfortunately died a couple years later. He just one day dropped dead of a heart attack. Yeah. So I don't know, Paula, if you knew, you look shocked. So I guess you didn't know about that. But yeah, it was very traumatic. And I also had two little kids still nursing, like a 8-month-old baby and a 2-year-old baby. So, we just got through the next year basically just sucking on. They were like breastfeeding night and day, and it was like having, like a litter, right? Anybody know? It's called tandem feeding. Have you guys heard of this? And
no.
I had my daughter first, and she was like an avid breastfeeder. Like she wasn't just sucking; she was like flicking the other nipple and twiddling it, and you know, basically, if you guys ever get bit by a snake and you need somebody to suck out the venom, I've got the person for you. But then my son was born, and he had a mouth like the size of a dime, very tiny, and he could barely latch on. It was like breastfeeding a vampire on one side and a goldfish on the other. So, but my boobs ended up getting me in trouble. I'm a positive person. I found this lump. I thought it must be due to, a clogged milk duct. But I went and I got a biopsy, and my biopsy was positive too. So I did get breast cancer. Just, yeah. And I had to cut off the breastfeeding immediately, and go straight into chemo, which is terrifying. And I did what anybody would do in that situation. And I went on Facebook groups and started reading up on what other women's experience was. And I found this lady. She said that she was blasting diarrhea every 5 to 10 minutes, and she had to wear a diaper to go out. Yeah, blasting diarrhea. And I thought, like, oh man, at least I'll lose weight, right? But it didn't work out that way, because when I got the chemo, they also gave me steroids at the same time, which is to counteract the side effects. So I didn't lose weight, I gained weight on chemo. I'm like, oh, this is not what I signed up for. I'm angry. I'm angry. I have roid rage. I don't know if it's the steroids or the hemorrhoids. But anyway, it was rough. I had to do a double mastectomy, which is a real joke, because I was only a double A to start with. So yeah, I went into the doctor, and the nurse was examining me, and she said, wow, the surgeon did an amazing job. He got every ounce of breast tissue. And I said, this is my pre-op. But anyway, there is a golden, at the end of the rainbow. I got free breast implants paid for by Cover California, right? So give it up for a free boob job, you guys. So yeah, get to pick your size. I should have gone bigger, is what I think of now. But,
Yeah, what did you pick?
I went with a B. I went with a B.
Oh, come on.
And I still don't have cleavage, but you know what? I can always go back. If I feel like going through more surgery, I can always go back and get them bigger, probably. But anyway, yeah, it's I learned a lot. I learned too much, and going through chemo, it hampers your immune system. So you can't fight off the diseases that you normally would be able to. And, I know everybody's cancer journey is different, but for me, the worst part about having cancer was finding out that I have herpes. That was that was pretty rough. But anyway, I want to leave on a positive note. Breast cancer these days, is the 15-year survival rate is like 85%. So what that means is 5 out of 6 women are still alive 15 years after their diagnosis. So it's basically like playing Russian roulette, but just very, very slowly. So all righty. Thank you. Thank you guys for listening.
My gosh, like herpes, the gift that keeps on giving.
Oh God.
Yeah, there you go. But the good news is, if you have that supply of medication, you just don't need to get the vaccine for shingles, because it's the same medication.
Oh, okay.
They would give you. Yeah, just so you know. That's obviously a little too much personal.
No, you know what? I can't wait to turn 50 and get my shingles vaccine, because I'm just like, oh, I don't want one less thing to worry about,
But so many cutbacks have happened. I wonder if under this administration, the breast replace, or what do you call it? Replacement? I guess that's the best one. The breast replacement would probably still stay covered, because
yeah, and there is a copay, which is like $2,500, so it's not a nothing copay, and then you see what the doctors are charging, and some of the doctors, they won't take insurance at all, and they charge like $30,000 for the reconstruction, which is this basically, I guess it's a little more involved than a regular boob job, but not that much more. They just charge a lot for that. So
Well, that's a fine example of pain to punchlines right there. I mean, at the end of the day, did you still keep your nips?
I did. Well, one and a half.
Was that the half that
one
your
of them
son
I
is
forgot.
still sucking on?
No, they didn't have a side. They would switch back and forth. But no, oh my God, my son, they both wish they could still suck on him, honestly. They're 6 and 8 years old now, but they were really, really attached. And
Yeah, you are doing the single mom old school. Like, I grew up with a single mom. And it wasn't, and often people are talking about being single moms, and they are, but then they switch the kids off every other week with someone else.
right.
You
They get a
are
break.
it. You are everything.
Yeah.
That is stressful. That is stressful.
Yeah.
And deserves more dive bar comedy.
Thank you.
To
But I
be
will
heard.
say that, they say when you get married, you marry the whole family. And I married a wonderful
Oh.
family. And like today, I went to a bridal shower of 80 women. I mean, they're just amazing. And I have my family too. So I have like a lot of support and a big family to help raise these kids.
Oh, that's beautiful. I naturally assumed as you were a comedian, you would not have that support.
I just have to keep a lot of secrets from them. Hopefully they're not watching this.
All right, and now we're coming to our final comedian today. They are the producer of M's Hotcakes in Sherman Oaks, California. Welcome to the stage, Emily Kerr.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. This is so cool, by the way. Thank you for having me. I'm a Cancer, triple Cancer, not what Johanna went through, but like astrology. So my heart is very big and I love love and I cry about everything. So these next 6 minutes, I won't cry. It's so nice to meet you all. I'm from Indiana originally, so that might be where the pain and the punchline starts. Being from Indiana and not quite fitting in there, and being really, really obsessed with pop culture and kind of taking the wrong lessons away from it. So, an example would be like, I'm really bad about procrastinating, and I wish that I could blame it on my parents, like everything else I blame them on in therapy. But I learned how to procrastinate because I watched a lot of professional wrestling growing up. And I don't know how many of you watch professional wrestling, but first of all, it's fantastic. The pageantry, everyone is hot. It's so much drama. It's better than a telenovela. But every week there's these two guys and they're really big and they're in each other's faces and it feels pretty gay, but they're not gay, but it still feels pretty gay. And there's always this one guy that's like, I'm kicking your butt next Thursday. And I remember as a kid being so confused about that because I was like, if somebody said they're going to kick my butt next Thursday, I just wouldn't be there. Like that just that's I don't know, just things I think about. And then I was very into like classic monster movies. I loved like the originals like Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Wolf Man. I I loved the monsters because like I saw myself in them. I saw like an outcast. I saw somebody that society doesn't know what to do with. But the thing about the monsters is they taught me some bad things, like you don't need to get consent for things. I
Hmm.
could tell I just lost a bunch of people. Hear me out. I wasn't me tooing people in kindergarten or preschool or pre-tooing, if you will. I wasn't doing that. But hear me out. I would watch the movies and I saw when the monsters saw somebody they liked, they would just go over and pick them up and take them back to their swamp or whatever. So, like little Emily on the playground, if I saw somebody I liked, I would just go over and pick them up and start taking them back to my swamp or whatever. But you're right, I couldn't have a swamp, not in this economy. Stupid. No, but it's hard. It's things are really expensive right now. Like, I'm definitely gonna have to get another job, I think. Because if I was an exotic dancer right now, my name would have to be my paycheck because I just don't spread as far as you hope I will. Catch my drift. That's my exotic dancer joke. No, but I am gonna have to start taking my clothes off for money again. That That always has a weird response. I notice some people are like, "Oh, good for you," and then there's some people that are like, "Oh, girl, what do you do?" But it's very respectable, guys. It's modeling, okay? It's nothing you've seen. It's not on billboards. It's not in magazines. I do figure drawing modeling, which is where you stand nude and artists draw you, and it feels really powerful. It feels very you feel like you're one with the art and seeing their interpretation of you. Like there's just so many beautiful things about it. And it's been really interesting doing it now as a 36-year-old because the first time I did it was in my 20s. So the artists have a bit more to draw now, so they like that. But the other funny thing about doing it is I was doing it in Indiana in my 20s, and I purposely chose a group of older artists so that I wouldn't run into these people on campus or, anywhere in my regular day to day until the day I was working at the movie theater, my job. I almost said survival job, but what was I surviving? It was living with my mom. And this old couple from the class started coming up to the counter, and I recognized them right away. But I could tell they didn't recognize me at first. And I thought, that's fair. You see naked people all the time. I'm sure we blend in. I kid you not, it wasn't until I bent over to get their popcorn that this adorable little lady goes, "Oh, Emily, I didn't recognize you with your clothes on." And the little teenager I was training was so confused. I didn't even give an explanation because I figure like that's whatever you're thinking is more exciting than the truth. And then another thing about me, I am part of the rainbow. So I usually ask people like, "What's your least favorite color in the rainbow?" And after they tell me their least favorite color, I go, "So that's me because I'm the bi," which is what the straights and the gays say when I show up because I'm what? Insufferable. Yes, that's fair. That's very understandable. And it's it's a very weird place to be. It was very hard coming to terms with that identity, especially growing up, because you just feel so like a mess all the time. Like you just are constantly, if I'm talking to a guy, I really want to be soft, like a Margot Robbie type. But if I'm talking to a woman, I really want to radiate this like Michelle Rodriguez in the Fast and the Furious movies energy. Like, I want to saunter up and be like, "Yeah, I can fix your car." Just because I'm wearing a jumpsuit, don't let me anywhere near your car, okay? Like, it'll be a unicycle when you get it back. Which, that's one wheel. That's why that's funny. And yeah, it's just my mom. I've asked her before, like, were there signs? And she said I was always just an extravagant, interesting kid. And she said, but you did have this one dream you told me about where you were a washed up sailor and these two women like took care of you and bathed you and clothed you. And she was naming this very sapphic tale that I spun. And I was like, so you didn't think that was a sign? But she named me Emily after her favorite movie, Wizard of Oz. So I feel like she kind of manifested it for me because I am a friend of Dorothy. And I am definitely somewhere over the rainbow, that's for sure.
Well, she got you right then, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Everyone give it up for Emily.
Thank you.
You know, sorry. I have a light on. I turn the light on. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I was gonna say like dungarees, hot girl dungarees. Like, what are the jokes? The jokes are you wear Doc Martens,
Yeah.
chunky boots. And I only learned this because my kid came out as bi and has been telling me, my sexual orientation. She's like, "You're so hetero, I can't even." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, I feel better now because I like chunky boots and Doc Martens. And people used to call me not straight when I was there. No, you're so, Paula, you're so hetero. Like that's what she would say to me. But how old were you when you had that dream?
I was pretty young. I think I was like 8 or 9.
Okay, that's pretty graphic for 8 or 9.
I mean, I don't remember, like, we never, that's why I say it was like sapphic. It was like just very gentle and like nurturing, but it never got into anything adult because I was a child. So I didn't know. I also hadn't seen two women kiss before. So it's not like we kissed, but it was just like very caring and too, too soft for a guy.
In the dreams. One of the Pain to Punchline students, so we have a comedy class online for people want to try to speak their truth through comedy, not necessarily in a competitive form, but we do it in wellness and we do it online. It's a very deep, deep course. So people start to really examine stuff of their truth because it's about honesty. One of them was a dream analysis, right? And she would go through dreams and talked about dreams. And what made me laugh was they had a dream that they were trying to sell sandwiches from an immigration officer, like on the phone selling sandwiches. And I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. She's like, no, it does, because it explains why I'm a healer.
Huh.
I don't know why that makes any sense at all, but it was fascinating enough for me to then send an email of my dreams 3 days in a row, which just contradicted each other so much that she gave up. She was like, wait, you're in an elevator. Is the elevator going down or is the elevator going up? And I was like, well, in this dream, it was going down. Oh, you need to face this. And then the next day's dream, I was in the elevator again, but this time I was going up just to prove you wrong. That's why I think I dreamt that. Like, don't try to psychoanalyze me, even if I want you to. I will complicate you. No end. What hasn't been complicated were the laughs today. I do hope that you will support these lovely comedians. Follow them on their links. It's all listed below. This is just a taste of what they can bring, but they've all been very vulnerable and honest today when we're talking about bringing our pain to punchlines and being able to laugh at ourselves. When we're able to laugh at anything that's happened to ourselves, we are no longer at the effect of it, and we start to move away from being victims, and we start to take back the agency of our own lives and bring joy with that. So if you're interested in knowing anything more about what we're doing, you can go to awaremeditation.org. It's a nonprofit. And then you can look up our RiseUpComedy.org, which has our online classes specifically designed for regular people who want to express themselves safely. And then we have a closed comedy show, or sometimes it's public. So with that, everyone give us a wave, a high five. Thank you so much. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.